up and welcome back to my channel. So we have a ton to talk about. If you haven't heard, which I don't know how you couldn't have heard this, but Attorney General of Kentucky, Daniel Cameron, held a press conference today and released the final charges in the death of Breonna Taylor. So I'm going to drop a link to that full press conference in the description box below, so feel free to check that out. But what I did was I took some notes for you guys so I can give you the high points and then we can talk about it and I'll let you know my final thoughts about everything. First, let's start off by saying I hope that Breonna Taylor can finally rest in peace. I understand that not everybody is going to be happy with what the final charges came out to be, but at the end of the day, her family received a $12 million settlement, okay? Even regardless of the charges made, okay? They received $12 million. That is a lot of money. Now, I know that doesn't bring back their daughter. I know that that leaves an empty space in their heart, but we have to look at the facts, not our feelings. I always say that, and I know that some of you guys are still, even after this, going to be very, very caught up in how you feel about this, but please understand these are the facts. The law does not look at feelings when it comes to determining who is responsible and who is not. So with that, I'm going to jump in to the notes that I have taken. So I'm going to be reading some stuff down below and then kind of elaborating as we go. Okay, number one, the evidence overall shows and was also corroborated said that wrong, was also corroborated with an independent witness and a resident who lived nearby to Breonna's apartment, okay, that the police were serving a warrant, okay, and they both knocked and announced when they approached Mrs. Taylor's apartment, okay? Now, I want to stop there for a second because there was a whole lot of back and forth going on about they didn't announce, they didn't knock. Kenneth Walker said they did knock. Kenneth Walker is the boyfriend that was inside the apartment. Kenneth Walker said they did knock, but they didn't announce. Neighbors, you know, there were different stories there. But at the end of the day, they had an independent witness that lived nearby that heard and saw them both knock and announce, okay? So I want to get that out of the way so we don't have to talk about that anymore and talk about how they just like walked into her apartment and went up to her in her bed and shot her, okay? Now, the warrant was not served as a no-knock warrant. Although they had the go-ahead, okay, to serve a no-knock warrant, they ultimately decided not to serve a no-knock warrant. Now, from what I am reading, okay, this wasn't necessarily said in the press conference, but I've read everything. I've read the police report. I've read everything I can get my hands on. That determination was made because when they got there, because of the time of night it was, they thought Miss Taylor, Breonna, was alone in her apartment. So that's why they made the decision to knock, okay, versus just busting down the door. However, when they did try to knock on the door several times, okay, they didn't just, they knocked several times and they really knocked hard. And I'm going to put a picture in here so you can see how hard they knocked, okay, because there were, they weren't just knocking with their fists. They were knocking with, you know, I think their battering ram to make sure that they knew it wasn't just a normal knock on the door, okay? I'm going to show you a picture of how hard they were knocking because the door actually has marks on it showing how hard they were knocking. But after several attempts and no answer, and they knew people were in there, or they knew at least one person was in there, a decision was then made to breach the door, okay? Which is 1000% within their right to do. They are there to serve a warrant. They're not there serving, you know, trying to sell Girl Scout cookies. They're there to serve a warrant, okay? Now, Sergeant Mattingly, there were three police officers kind of involved in the initial warrant, okay? Now, there were detectives and whatnot there, but Sergeant Mattingly was the only officer to actually enter the residence once the door was breached, okay? Now, what he stated was when he went into the residence, going into past the doorway, he stated that in the hallway, he witnessed a male and a female, okay? We're going to assume that that was BREONNA and Kenneth Walker. He states that the male had a weapon in his hand and was standing in a manner that gave him the indication that he was pointing the gun towards Sergeant Mattingly and that he was going to shoot. Now, Kenneth Walker did ultimately shoot, okay? That is not a question. He admitted it when they brought him in for questioning that he was the first one to shoot his weapon, okay? So he admitted that he was the first one to shoot. It was also confirmed by Sergeant Mattingly that he also said, yes, Kenneth Walker was the first to shoot at us. They, in addition, conducted a ballistics investigation. So that is an investigation involving the shooting of the actual weapon, where the bullets went, et cetera, et cetera. And it was confirmed that the bullet came from Kenneth Walker's weapon, okay, that hit Sergeant Mattingly in the thigh. So Kenneth Walker was the first to shoot, and Sergeant Mattingly was the first to take a hit. Now, he knew he had taken a hit once he felt the burning in his thigh. He knew he had been hit, okay? So once they did the ballistics investigation, they found that Kenneth Walker, who had a 9mm gun, his bullet that only could have come from the gun was found in Sergeant Mattingly's leg, okay? So that's how they confirmed that Kenneth Walker's shot, hit Sergeant Mattingly, ultimately injuring him. Now, the officers had 40mm weapons, so they know that the weapon that struck Sergeant Mattingly wasn't from, the other officers shooting, okay? Now, Sergeant Mattingly admitted to firing back 6 shots down the hallway towards Kenneth Walker, okay? At the same time, a second detective, Detective Cosgrove, who was standing in the doorway, okay, not inside, but in the doorway, fired 16 shots. He admitted to firing 16 shots. Now, all these shots were fired in a matter of seconds, okay? So I want to stop there, okay? Because people always say, well, was it necessary to shoot that many times? Okay, if you've never shot a gun, if you've never been to a shooting range, particularly an external shooting range, not an indoor shooting range, okay? Because in an indoor shooting range, you hear a lot of noise, back and forth because you're inside a building, okay? But if you're at a shooting range that is outdoors, or you're shooting outdoors, okay, you have to understand that if a lot of people are shooting, you can't make the determination whose gun is firing, okay, where the shots are going. There's no way, especially in a situation like this, when you're essentially under attack, one person shoots a gun, okay, it's not realistic to say, well, couldn't you just have shot him once? It doesn't work that way, okay? Keep in mind that they said it was a matter of seconds that the first 6 shots from Sergeant Mattingly and the 16 shots from Detective Cosgrove all took place in a matter of seconds, which means it was a pop, 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 okay? Because now we have to take down the threat, and the threat is Kenneth Walker, okay? So in the Breonna Taylor report, which you can find on the TatumReport.com, okay, you will find in there that Kenneth Walker admitted to immediately dodging out of the way to avoid taking a shot, leaving BREONNA in the hallway, okay? She was not in her bed. I hope people now understand, okay, even after you read it in the police report that you'll find on the TatumReport.com, and now that you've heard it from Daniel Cameron, the AG of Kentucky, say, she was not in her bed. Even Kenneth Walker, when he was interviewed by the police, stated she was standing in the hallway, okay? But he dove out of the way and she took the shots. In total, she took 6 shots. BREONNA took 6 shots, okay? Only one of the actual shots that hit her was a fatal one. Okay, so that is very, very important. And it was so severe of a shot that she would have died anywhere from seconds to no more than 2 minutes after she took that actual hit. Okay, so really nothing couldn't have been done. Now, I want to stop there for a second because this is where everybody's emotions are tied up. Okay, why did they shoot her? Okay, why did she die? The why did she die is because Kenneth Walker shot first, okay? They don't know Breonna Taylor. They only know what they've gathered from the investigation, which is they're there to serve a warrant, okay? Because she has been involved in the trafficking of drugs, okay? Now that night, they were serving a total of 5 warrants. Now, I want to bring up an important point because this also was not mentioned in the press conference, okay? But the warrant states that they were there at all 5 of the warrants served. They were looking for weapons. They were looking for drugs. They were also looking for mail, showing that Kenneth Walker was using Breonna's apartment to receive mail at and sometimes drugs at, okay? I'm going to show pictures of the mail that they found once they were, conducting the investigation in her apartment that shows he was sending mail to her apartment. So that was part of the warrant, and they did find that. Did they find drugs? I don't think so. I don't know. But they may not have been there looking for actual drugs because it was already proven in photographs that Breonna would receive the drugs and drop them off at the trap house, okay? But the mail they did find, okay? The mail they did find. So that's important to note. Now, Detective Brett Hankinson, I think I'm saying that right. Brett Hankinson fired his weapon 10 times. So this is in addition to the 6 shots and the, what were the other shots? Sorry, the 6 shots and the 16 shots from the other 2 officers. Now Brett Hankinson fires his weapon 10 times from outside of the apartment, okay, through sliding glass doors, through a bedroom window, and some of those bullets actually traveled to the apartment that was next to Miss Taylor's apartment, okay, and then exited that apartment. Now, in that apartment, there was a family, I believe a woman who was pregnant, a male, and another child. Nobody was actually hit in that apartment, okay? But none of the bullets that Detective Hankinson fired actually struck Miss Taylor, okay? So I'm also gonna put up a picture of the outside of the apartment so that you guys can get an idea of that sliding glass door. So what I'm imagining is they had officers at the front door, okay, that were executing the warrant at the front door. They also had officers stationed at the back sliding glass door, just in case somebody tried to run. I don't think that's, uncommon to do, but now that, we have shots going back and forth, you have to understand that the officer's main concern is to protect themselves and to, take down the threat, okay? So Detective Brett Hankinson made the call at that point to start firing his weapon through the glass sliding door, which was on the outside. So he was on the outside of the apartment, okay? Now, he is the one that has been indicted with 3 counts of wanton endangerment, which can hold a penalty of up to 5 years per count in jail, okay? He was fired back in June from his position, but he is the only one that has received actual charges not related to the death of Breonna Taylor, but related to wanton endangerment. Basically, he made a decision to do something, to shoot his weapon, and he put other people in danger as a result of that decision. Now, he didn't actually kill anybody, thank God, but he did cause, basically put them in danger by making the decision he made, okay? So there's that. The fatal shot that Breonna took was fired by Detective Cosgrove. This was confirmed by an independent investigation done by the FBI, in addition to the investigation done by the Louisville Police Department, okay? Mattingly and Cosgrove, the 2 other officers, were found justified in their use of force by firing because Kenneth Walker fired at them first, okay? So them shooting, even though Cosgrove's shot, one of his shots ultimately was the shot that killed Breonna Taylor, he is not being held responsible, I guess unjustly for her death, because it was as a result of shots fired at him, and it was justified because he was now in a defense position, okay? So that is very, very important, because everybody is like, Breonna didn't deserve to die, justice for Breonna. Here's where we get to the part where we talk about this, you guys, okay? These are the facts. I just laid them out for you, step by step, okay? I wish I had a floor plan layout of her apartment so that you guys can kind of see visually where the police officers were standing in regards to where Breonna was. But at the end of the day, the lesson is this, okay? The Schoolhouse Rock lesson is this. Don't get involved with drugs, whether you're selling them, whether you're help transporting them, whether you're dating a guy that's involved in drugs. Don't get involved in shit like that. Pardon my French, but just don't get involved, because this is the type of situation you can possibly end up in. Was her death justified? Is it sad? It is incredibly sad that she had to die, okay? But just think about this. If her boyfriend did not fire at the police, she would be alive. The police would have busted through the door, taking them both into custody. She would have gone to jail. She would have faced the music. She would have gone to trial, but she would be alive. Okay? It is because he made the decision to fire at police and they had to now defend themselves that she unfortunately was caught in the crossfire. It is amazing to me that Kenneth Walker, her boyfriend, was not hit by anything, okay? It is amazing to me with all the bullets that were flying, because I have pictures that I can also post up here that shows you there were bullets that hit pots and pans in the cabinet. There were bullets that hit boxes of food in the pantry. There were bullets that went through the shower wall. There were bullets flying everywhere. It is incredible, okay, that those bullets hit her. But at the end of the day, it took one bullet to hit her in the wrong place to take her life. And that is unfortunate, okay? But I will tell you this, if you don't get involved in a lifestyle like that, the police wouldn't be at your door in the first place, okay? Now I've heard all the rumors, like ridiculous stuff, that like they killed her because they were trying to, get her out of her apartment so they could get another tenant in there and charge them more money. That is ridiculous, okay? I mean, you don't gotta kill somebody to do that. You just have them evicted. You could just say, hey, I don't like what kind of tenant you are, and you're evicted. It's done. You don't have to renew their lease. The other question I've heard is about body cams. Why is there no body cams, okay? This question is quite funny to me for two reasons. Number one, I don't think that there were body cams, or that they maybe haven't been released, but I don't think there were body cams. Not all police departments have body cams. That's a shame, okay? But keep in mind, if we defund the police, we're really gonna have less body cams. Let me make 3 points. My second point is, while I like that we have body cams and it's good to see it, initially body cams were brought into the picture because they wanted to have something to bring into court as evidence. But somewhere along the line, body cams became public, knowledge, and everybody can see if, what's going on in the body cam and make their own determination. Now, there are plenty of other cases like the George Floyd incident that did have body cams, or I think it was Daniel Prude that did have body cams, okay? And even after y'all see the body cam footage that shows what's really going on, you guys still don't believe the facts, okay? Breonna Taylor's whole police report's out there. And I've heard people say, oh, well, police can lie too. Listen, if y'all ain't gonna believe the body cam, if you're not gonna believe the police report, then I ain't got nothing to say to you, because there's no hope for you. You don't want the truth. You want to live in this lie. You want to live in this narrative that police are out to kill Black men and Black women, and that's not the truth. That's not the truth. And statistically, it can be proven that it's not the truth. But then even when you prove it with statistics, people say, oh, well, they can lie on those statistics. Okay, well, then what are we doing here? You guys, I really, really pray for the city of Louisville tonight, because I hope that people don't go out and destroy their city once again in the name of Breonna Taylor, when it's a done deal. It's a done deal. The facts show what the facts show. The determination has been made. A check has been paid to the family. There's nothing else to do, okay? I lie. There is something else to do. Parents, please steer your children in the right direction, okay? Don't encourage them to lead a life of crime. Don't encourage them to hang out with bad people. And if you see that they're hanging out with bad people, it is your responsibility to do something about it. If you live in a bad neighborhood, then do something to get out of it. It's nobody else's responsibility to get you out of that situation, okay? I understand that people are in bad situations, but there's always a way out. It's not always easy, but there's always a way out. And I know a lot of people who have grown up in the hood, who have grown up in the ghetto, and have made really great progress in their life. So it's no excuse. You are responsible for your life and your choices. So make good choices and you won't end up like this, boys and girls. That is the facts. Let me know what you think in the comments box below. Watch the video, look at the pictures. Let me know what you think. I mean, I don't really think there's anything much more to say. Rest in peace, Breonna Taylor. Please make sure to like this video. Please make sure to share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I will see you next time with another one. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.